Hi, my name's Adam Vettery. I'm with Double Bond Productions, and I'm here to review these two products. We have the Glidecam HD-4000 right here, and we have the Glide Gear DNA 5050. Now, before I start out, I want to just start by saying I was not paid to do this review. Neither company gave me any money, so it's not biased. It's completely my own opinion of what I think the difference is between these two products. The very first difference between these two products is the Glide Gear DNA 5050 is $350, and then the Glide Cam is $650. Now, the first thing you think of with that big of a price difference is build quality. Starting with the Glide Cam, it comes in this box. You get this box, and you get some bubble wrap, and that's about it. You don't get any connections. You don't get a screw. You don't get anything that will actually connect your camera to this top plate here. Everything on this Glidecam is metal except for one piece, which is this knob right here, the one that changes and lowers elevation. Even though it is plastic, it's still very sturdy. It doesn't seem like it's going to break anytime soon or crack. It comes with 10 of these little metal plates that you attach down here as your counterbalance weights. It adds up to about 3.2 pounds of counterbalance weight. Moving up from the bottom, we go to the gimbal. Everyone's always wondering how smooth is the gimbal. And this, I have no complaints. This thing, it's very, very smooth. It works very well. Even the bearings that connect the handles, the handle is really good. And then the bearings that connect this U joint here are also very smooth. Moving up to the quick release plate on the Glidecam, you have 1/4 inch holes and you have 3/8 inch holes. For different mounting systems for different types of cameras, you can definitely hold larger cameras just based on the holes that they drill into this top cheese plate. So that's the Glidecam HD-4000. Now on to the Glide Gear DNA 5050. Now obviously it's a lot smaller. When I first started looking at the Glide Gear 5050, I thought, or the specs online said that they were very close to that of the HD-4000. Now that I'm looking at it, I can see it's probably more comparable to the HD-2000, which is the smaller version of the HD-4000. The height difference between the Glide Gear and the Glidecam is substantial. And then when I go to extend the Glide Gear, this is about as far as it goes. And this is, it's matching the height of the Glidecam. And I haven't even extended the Glidecam yet. So now if I extend the Glidecam to its full length, you can tell, well, it's much taller. With this size difference, you can hold much larger cameras on the HD-4000. They're both supposedly weighted to be able to take 2 to 7 pound rigs on top. At this point, I find it hard to believe that you can hold a 7 pound or 6 pound or 5 pound rig on top of this Glide Gear. If you were trying to fly just a DSLR, that would probably work well. But if you wanted to fly a larger professional camcorder, you would have to go with the Glidecam HD-4000. So what do you get for $350? You get the Glide Gear, and you get this case. And so with this bag, you get the manual, you get a carrying strap for the bag, and then you get 8 of these larger metal plates, larger metal weights, and then you get 4 of these smaller metal weights. And these are good for fine adjusting and getting it just right. But you also get you get a 1/4 screw so that you can attach your camera to the top of the Glide Gear. The build quality it's good, but you can tell it's $350. Everything is still metal on here except for, again, this knob that raises and lowers the height. That's one of the plastic pieces, but again, it doesn't feel like it's going to break anytime soon. But then there are also some plastic knobs up here, but these, again, they're a good plastic. They don't seem like they're going to break. Now, this is just a cosmetic thing, but looking at the Glide gear, you have a sticker to tell you what product this is. Now, to me, that's saying that you're trying to make your product cheaper by not spending as much money on making it look good, but trying to put more money into the performance. And that's okay with me. Yeah, it kind of tears off a little bit, but who cares? If I get good performance out of it, then I'm not going to care that there's a sticker on the side instead of with the Glidecam, it's painted on there. Starting at the bottom, you have the counterbalance. You can see you attach the weights on either side, and you can extend it to different lengths. Now, comparing it to the Glidecam, you see before when they're not extended, and you see after when they are extended. You can see the difference between the two Glidecams. You can see that the Glidecam has a much larger radius that it can expand to. Moving up from the counterbalance, you have the gimbal. You get to the gimbal. And so again, the gimbal quality on here is very good. It's very smooth, it works very well. I have no complaints on this gimbal. And then moving to the handle connection, again, that bearing is very smooth, and then the two bearings on the side are also very smooth. The one thing I really don't like about the Glide gear is the gimbal position. So as you can see, the position or the distance right here is very short, and when I go to raise this up, and I hit it almost immediately, so that it hinders my ability to be able to raise and lower this on the ground. Now, if I look at the Glidecam, you can see that this distance, it's a little bit higher. It's not much higher, but the distance is larger. So when I go to raise it up, I don't hit it as soon. I can raise and lower this to the ground. I have a much higher range where I can raise and lower this to the ground. Moving up from the gimbal, we go up to the camera mount and the quick release plate. So this quick release plate is much smaller than the Glidecam. Now, you're not going to be able to fly as big a cameras on here based on the size of the whole thing anyways. So it really doesn't matter. It's proportional to the size of the rest of the Glide gear. Now, another thing you notice on the Glide gear is you only have 1/4-20 holes. These 1/4-inch diameter holes are, of course, will fly your normal everyday camcorders. You're not gonna fly anything special. Looking at the two side to side, you can see the inside of the Glidecam on the left and the inside of the Glide gear on the right. There's virtually no difference, but they work almost the same, or they work exactly the same. By finally adjusting the top plate around on the top to get your center of gravity correct. Something that I found in a previous review online was the quality of the adjustment knobs, the fine adjustment knobs for the weight on the top for the camera plate on the Glide gear. Now, what the issue was when people would put the camera on and then they would try and balance it with these fine adjustment knobs and move it all the way to the right or left, it would fall over, like something was not aligned or misplaced. So when I tested this out, I didn't have any issues. Nothing fell over. There was no clicking. There was no angle of the camera. So it may have just been a faulty product for that other review, but for this, it worked out fine. Now that I've gone over both products completely, we're going to move to some test shots. with these two products, you can use them for two different things. If you're flying really small rigs, if you're flying a DSLR and that's it, you can probably get away with just using the glide gear. Now, you may not get as good of quality images out of the glide gear, but if you're just an amateur running around, then don't spend the extra $300 in the Glidecam and just go with the glide gear. Now, if you take this more seriously and if you're a professional, or if you just overall want better quality shots out of your stabilizer, go with the Glidecam. It's heavier. It's gonna give you, or some people think that heavier is not always better, but in this case, you're able to get away with more since there is more weight to the Glidecam. It doesn't get pushed around in the wind as much. Like when we were outside, we had an issue with the wind. The wind was knocking the glide gear all over the place, and it was really hard to get smooth shots. It would sway back and forth, but with the Glidecam, we were able to get smooth shots pretty much the entire time, based on mostly because of that weight. The wind wasn't pushing it around. Now, if you're just going to be walking around with these stabilizers, both of them function very well. You're not gonna. It's pretty easy to handle both of these if you're not running, you're not bouncing around as much. Either one's going to give you the same outcome. They're both going to function the same. But if you're running around, if you noticed, the Glidecam was a lot easier to stabilize when running. Mostly, again, because of size. It's a lot harder to control something that's smaller and lighter, and I can push it around a lot easier, whereas with the Glidecam, it's a lot easier to fine adjust and be able to hold still. So that's it for the review. I hope this review is helpful. Again, this is the Glide Gear DNA 5050, and this is the Glidecam HD-4000. Again, I'm Adam Vettery from Double Bond Productions. Please check out our YouTube page and our Facebook page in the description, and thank you for watching.